By the blessings of God.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. I'm going to try this stiff chair because it catches me rolling around all the time. And I just really like it. So I'm going to try this. What's up, Facebook? Brandon Orr, Reclaiming Lives Recovery Cafe. One more time today. Doing our noon lives. And today we have a super special person with us in our lives today, Kristy. She does so many great things, not only for our community, but for the ladies that are in prison, right?
Yep.
So we're going to hear a little bit of what she does and her passion behind it. And we're going to have just the blessings of being able to talk with her a little bit today. First off, I'd like to thank you guys for showing up. It really means a lot. Kristy, how's everything going?
Going great. Thank you. Really glad to be here.
Yeah, we're super glad you showed up today.
Thank you.
Super glad that you accepted our offer of coming on live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how are you doing through this COVID-19 pandemic?
I'm a good. How do I say?
Speak the truth, girl. Speak the truth.
Yeah, speak the truth. I'm in a really good place. Of course, there's different waves of feelings, but overall, I'm doing really well. I'm in school, so I'm doing homework a lot. I make time to go outside all the time. Yeah, it's worked out really okay for me, actually.
Going outside for like exercise and stuff?
Yep. Doing a lot of social distance walking and hiking and running.
And you live in Ashland. You got all that up there.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went up there to visit you last Friday. I tell you what, it was so beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
I could
nice.
see. So what are you going to school for?
They have a major at SOU called Innovation and Leadership. And so it's perfect for somebody that's been out of school for 30 years. And I was afraid to go back to school. And it's been amazing. And I was supposed to graduate in June, but the graduation got postponed. So, I was looking at that. I was like, wow, so shouldn't I be like upset or I'm getting cheated? I'm like, no, I'm good. Once you go through stuff and you think this is good, it's the way it is what it is, and I'm just going to be the way it's supposed to be. Right. Yeah. So I'm just excited that I'll be done with school and have a degree. Who would have ever thought?
Right?
Yeah.
After meeting you, it surprised me you don't already.
Oh,
but,
no.
What brought you to the desire of wanting to go back to school, especially in the field you're taking?
Well, let's see. When I was in prison, I thought about school, and actually, one of the things for pre-trial, I was at the Salvation Army in Connecticut, far away from where I lived in California, and I had relapsed while I was in there, and so I became homeless for the first time, and I was on the greens of Yale, walking around homeless, going, what? How am I here? And why aren't I in school? And that kind of set the little spark. And then I applied for my FAFSA in prison with a pencil and a stamp. And then I got out, and I thought that I was too old, so I wasn't going to go. And then I went to the work source and was doing a typing test, and I didn't do well at all. And then right across the street was the school, and I'm like, well, and it just kept calling to me. And then the judge at Reentry Court said to me, she goes, well, you should be in school. And I said, I should, aren't I old? And she's like, no. And then she rattled every reason I'm not too old. And then, so I went to RCC first, and the advisor there in Trio mentioned about innovation and leadership, and it was perfect. So I've been doing that for 3 years now.
So you mentioned that you were in prison. First off, like you're gonna do so good in leadership, but you are already a walking, talking leader. So I want to throw that out there real quick. You guys, if you guys don't know this one, oof. But so
you're so nice.
I mean, I already know. Like I see it all over you. Like from the first time I met you. And I actually told Stephanie that one time too. I'm like, wow, that one right there. So you had mentioned that you were in prison. What was that about?
Well, I had almost 10 years sobriety and I relapsed, mainly because I didn't deal with any emotions. I don't, looking back, I don't think I had emotional sobriety. I was just sober. I did work. I had a sponsor. I had sponsees. But after lots of years of not feeling emotions, I didn't do work on that. And then so I had lots of different things that happened that I didn't share about, and I just kind of drifted away. And then I relapsed and ended up selling drugs and stopping my business that I had because I couldn't stay sober. And I ended up selling drugs to a priest in Connecticut who was being followed, and I got caught. And I had never been in trouble. I had never been arrested. In fact, I was married to a police officer for a lot of years, and I ended up getting arrested and going to prison for a 5-year sentence.
Holy crud.
For the first time, yeah.
There's so many questions within that story.
Yeah.
I'm sure the whole world.
I know. I was wondering how I was there the whole time. Like, what? Am I really here?
As our viewers continue watching, like, tell me more about that. You know what I mean? With that being said, tell me more about that. Like, what stemmed, like, first I'd like to ask, what business did you own?
I had a wardrobe styling business. I've worked in retail and wholesale my whole life, and I was working at Nordstrom selling shoes, and the customers would say, what else can I wear with these shoes? And so I'd tell them everything. I wouldn't sell as many shoes because I was so excited to tell them what they can wear. And they said, God, I wish I had you to come to my house to show me what I can put with these shoes. And I was like, ooh, that would be fun. So I kept hearing it day after day after day. And this is when I first got sober. And so I quit one day and I called him. I said, hi, I can come to your house. And so I started a business that way, and it ended up being really, really amazing, really fun. So the fact that I stopped doing it when I have great clients, because I relapsed and I chose relapse. I chose continuing to relapse and be in shame and don't tell anybody, compared to doing what I loved. I loved it. Loved my clients. Shows the power of addiction.
Right?
Yeah.
And which is a common story in a lot of people I know that were very successful, that had to restart their lives back over, you know. And what I see in common with you and them is that you didn't pick up where you left off, going back to that.
No, I didn't.
I know people who were in construction, they had a business, they stopped, and now they're doing something totally different, you know?
Yeah.
Why is that, you think?
Do you mean after they relapsed?
Yeah, after they relapsed and they got back on the horse.
Yeah.
They didn't go back to what they naturally loved. They tried a whole new thing. Is it, you know, like, why didn't you go back to wardrobe?
You know, it's an interesting thing. Last night I was watching The Cut it's like the Project Runway, and my heart was like, oh, remember you loved this. So it's it feels like it's part of my old life, but I still like it. But I feel like my passion is this direction now, with school and helping others. So I haven't written it off totally. You know, I'm seeing what's going to happen with all of that.
Right.
Because if I just jumped right back into it, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do all the work on myself. I wouldn't be, you know, processing as much as I am now. I wouldn't be sharing. I would never share being in prison if I went back to wardrobe styling, you know. So, yeah, I have a place that I'm able to share with, and so I think that's where I'm supposed to be right now. But I do love all that.
I totally agree with you 100%. I believe, like, you know, I'm just curious because, like, it kind of baffles my mind sometimes because I don't know, because I've never did it, but I watch people who grow out of what they loved when they get back on the horse, on the wagon, and try something totally new. So I totally agree. Yeah. So you are part of the federal reentry?
Yes.
And what does that look like?
Well, when you get out of prison in Oregon, which is an amazing place, for reentering if you do the work. They have a reentry program that's done by a judge. So there's a circle that you come to once a month, and it's with judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, police officers, community members, counselors. And what they do is sit around a table, and once a month, each person that has gotten out of prison will talk, and the judge asks how our week or how our month was. And so we just kind of have the ability and the freedom to share what our month is like. And then she says, how can I help you? So what she does is pretty much, she says, as my job, she puts people away for committing crimes. And then when they get out, because she's like, I wish I could have gotten to you when you were 5 or 10 or, however, at a young age when you needed help. So she says, what can I do to help? And she provides, like if someone says, I need help getting my license back, she's on the phone immediately. Or I need help with my kids, so she gets a counselor. So she takes care of that stuff, and while building a community that kind of like the way the Recovery Cafe does too. And a community is being built, so you're able to share and process, and and when you first get out of prison, that's super important, really, for anybody,
right? Yeah.
out of any kind of addiction or. Yeah. Even not. And she even said that when she had her law students come to observe, they left saying, God, why can't we have this? They want a place to come to share and then say, how can we help you? I mean, doesn't anybody? That would be a great thing to have for anybody. So it was really nice.
What inspired you to have that passion and to do what you're doing today for the federal reentry? What was the solidifying drive that made you want to take this path of helping the federal reentry court?
Well, I think the whole time I was in prison, I was still shocked. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I had a great family, loving parents. They didn't drink. They didn't do drugs. They didn't know abuse. There's addiction and alcoholism in my extended family, but I had a great family. And so I thought, like, if you look at how all that was, and then me being in prison, it made no sense, because a lot of people in prison have trauma and they don't have opportunity, which I had that. So I was still always blown away, like, what am I doing here? And then through a lot of self-reflection and that whole time that I was in there, I realized that it was basically my emotions and worthiness. And I was a people pleaser, so I thought that the people around me that had strong opinions, and I was easygoing, so I'd be like, yeah, let's do that, or let's go here. I never took the time to decide, like, what is Kristy like? What is she about? What's her gift? So I learned a lot of that in prison, actually. And so in coming out, the judge and the people in the reentry court would ask those questions and allow me to share and really feel emotion and cry. And I went to prison with the guy that I was dating for a long time, like 13 years, and I really loved him, and he wasn't staying sober, and I felt guilty. I'm like, why am I doing well and he's not? So we talked about survivor's guilt. I mean, like, really guilty. It still makes me sad. And then I think, well, shouldn't I be helping him? They're like, no, keep going. I'm like, yeah, but who's helping him? Because, he's really the only one that knows how bad it was. And so I learned how to do all that stuff. And for a year, I learned with people that were successful. I mean, here's a judge who gave me her phone number, who's been in my house, who just pours into me constantly. And so I'm like, I grew so much. She still wants me to go back to school to master's. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do that.
More.
Please, no. So man, that may be where the line is drawn. I don't know. But
it's your journey.
Yeah, but it made me, I saw the growth. And so I'm like, yeah, I want to help that. I want people to see that growth and see that that if you're in prison or an addict, you're no less. And if you are not an addict or an alcoholic, you're no better. Everybody has all secrets and shame and guilt and worthiness, no matter who you are. But when you're in prison or if you're in recovery, you're exposed a lot more. All your stuff's out there, so people judge it.
Yeah.
But when you still look good and you're a wardrobe stylist and you have a nice car, people don't judge you, but you're dying inside because you're not able to share all your stuff. That's what, so I didn't share anything. And all of a sudden I'm in federal prison for 5 years. Like, what? I mean, it made no logical sense. So.
What did you take away from federal prison? The positive parts of it. Did you take anything away?
I think the only thing I took away was that everybody, well, not everybody, most people in there have trauma. If you took everybody out of prison that had big trauma, there would be like 5% of the people in there. That people were all the same. I know some people don't like when I say that, but we are all the same. We all want love. We all want respect. We all want to be seen. That's one thing I took away. I didn't know how much I needed to be seen. One of my prisons I was at in Rhode Island, the window of my cell was above the visiting room downstairs. And so I would just watch out the window and I'd see all the women or all the families coming in to see their families. And I was far away, so no one came to see me except once or twice. And I would like pound on the window and they would look up at me and smile and put their hands like in prayer positions and I would start bawling. I was like, ooh, I didn't expect to start bawling. I just want to say hi. And so I realized I needed to be seen. I didn't know how bad I needed to be seen. And so I did that every weekend for a couple years.
Oh, man.
And so that's one thing I learned. I learned that I need to be seen, that I need to see people. So when I'm outside, everyone kind of says, says I'm the greeter. But when I see people when I'm walking by, I always make a point to stop and say hello. And how are you doing? And because you never know. So those are the two things. It's about the people, not the prison itself, because prison's horrible.
There's none. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
What I took away was I got to learn who I was.
Yeah.
I told Stephanie this before, like, I thought I knew what my favorite color was. I thought I knew what my favorite ice cream was. I thought I knew what kind of car I liked. But that was all the way through my addiction. I stayed clean and sober through prison, and I actually found out who Brandon was.
Yes.
So that's what I got to take away from my set was I got to experience who I really am and what I really enjoy. And let me tell you what, like, it was mind
right?
Oh my gosh, who are you? I thought, like,
that's
wow.
Yes, it's so true. My mom sent me a Zentangle book, which I don't know if you know, it's like an art book.
I do.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'm a horrible drawer. I don't know how to, I'm not an artist. My sister's an artist, not me. And so I got a pencil and I was like, oh my God, it looks like something. I was shocked. And then I drew a bear. I'm like, that's a bear. Oh my God, am I an artist? I had no idea. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm an artist. I had no idea. So you're right. All these new things, music that you like. But I think it's because we don't have to people please. No one needs anything from me in prison.
Right.
Nobody. No one needs one thing. So then you're able to kind of grow into yourself, Even at my house, if I'm drinking tea, I'm like, I sit on my sofa by myself, I'm like, oh, you're a tea drinker, Kristy. Interesting.
Right.
Like, it trips me out. Because we get to figure out who we are.
Right.
Which, why does it take going to prison for that? I need to find that out. Because people, I don't know if you think regular people know.
Yeah. I'm glad that I did, because once I made the conscious decision to stay clean and live a better life, like, I am so glad I get to live the rest of my days out doing exactly what I like and not what I think I like and not what I wonder. Like, if I don't like something, I throw it the hell out.
Isn't
and then
amazing?
I start with something. Yeah, because I thought I loved Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream. I got out the joint and I took a bite of that and I threw that whole thing away. I'm like, I do not like this
That
shit.
is so funny. You know why? Because I went to Trader Joe's and I used to love these. I'm so glad no one has ever said that to me before. I used to love these, like, orange chicken in a bag that you can eat. I'm like, oh, they used to be my favorite. I had one the other day. I'm like, this stuff sucks.
Right.
It was, and I was shocked. I'm like, why did I like that? Yeah, that's so funny.
Right. And I think, you know, it might have to do with not only a mind-altering substance, but I think it might your taste buds might have been adjusted, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that's so true.
I consistently think about that all the time. It really, really blows me away to find out like the colors I like now and the things I like. But so what an interesting conversation. We could probably go on for 45 minutes more about that. But what I want to say is like, so I want you guys to know out there that everything we do here is unscripted. So if I get this out wrong, bear with me. The one thing that I really not only enjoy about you, but I really adore is your passion for people in general. What is it about the Recovery Cafe that stands out to you the most? Like when you because every time I see you walk through these doors, you're glowing. You're like, yes, my people. But like, what is it about the cafe? Like, or the first time, what was like the first time for the cafe for you?
Well, I was so happy and so enjoyed that communities from different walks of life were all together, talking, playing games, enjoying each other, having coffee. There wasn't a label that said I'm an addict and I am a CEO. They were just hanging out, and that is how I think we were meant to be.
Yes.
I think that's how God created the earth and created us to be. So it's like, instead of saying you're over here and this is your label, and you know, it's all one. And then so we all grow from each other. I grow from people that were in prison. I learned a lot from people that don't have a lot of education or went through a lot of hard stuff. And I see how we all different walks of life can benefit from each other. You know, because I had a women's group write women in prison, not had them, but asked them if they can write a little card, thinking it would just be a really nice, uplifting thing. And they ended up telling these women in prison all these secrets, like hard stuff. And I thought, I had no idea they were going through all that. And so it just reinforced that everyone goes through stuff. Prisoners and addicts, a lot of times after you've lost everything, you're out there naked, showing, you know, whereas other people, if you haven't lost a lot, you're still in your own mental prison, you can cover a lot. So I like that. I like that equalizer. I call it, you know, I think it's a really good equalizer.
Right.
I like it.
What I like the most about it is that there's no labels.
Yeah.
Right. Like you walk in the door, and that's something that when Stephanie first told me that, she said, yeah, when you walk in, we walked into Seattle and we didn't know who the volunteers were.
Yeah.
And we didn't know who the recoveries were. I'm like, oh, I can point them out.
Yeah.
I was way wrong.
Yeah.
I was so wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and then you walk in today and I'm lucky to know all of them. And it's just like every single heart is in the very same spot. You know, they just.
And isn't it sad that we think, oh, I know who they are.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
Because we do that.
Oh,
That's
I was
just human nature.
Quick.
Yeah.
I was corrected real fast. And it's like everybody at this particular cafe, you know, they just want to see growth from everybody. That's the biggest thing is.
And be seen, I think. Because when I came, I talked to a guy and I had never met him. We just sat down. I said, hey, do you want me to get you some candy or cookies? Because I like that. And I brought him a whole plate just because it made me feel a little bit better about eating my whole plate. And then he said that he doesn't really do sweets and stuff. And we talked a lot. And then at the end, he said, thank you for talking to me. Because you know what? I was here for about a minute and I was going to get up because I felt like I don't belong here. And so that just made me so, like, it reminded me that that's where we're at. And just because I have, you know, a little bit of time of recovery and been out of prison for 3 years, he was still kind of new. So you have that, you're not sure. And that, I mean, wow, for anybody to hear that, it's like, wow, I was going to leave if you didn't talk to me. No one would ever really say that out loud.
Right.
You know, I would never tell anyone that I needed to be seen because that would seem like, I don't know.
Right. I do this thing where I'm sure you've seen it where, and this is about the being seen, where like, I like to sneak on somebody and be like, okay, you come up and tell me what you like about the cafe, right? And we've had people come up who never in a million years, I thought for sure they'd been like, I'll pass this time. Man, they jumped up, they ran up there and said, what do you want me to say? I'm like, whatever comes to your heart, bud.
Yes.
You know, or even, it doesn't matter. Like, I got shot down once, but that was it. And that she's just super quiet and she just talks in her circle, which is so respectable. But like, they jump up so fast, just, you know, and I think that is, you know, not just to be seen, but to be heard.
To be heard, yeah. Because what you're saying is what you have to say is important. And then, you know, a lot of times for women, especially, I don't know about men, but for women, it's like, you know, are you sure it is? Yes, it is. It's important. And then you have a voice and then you find it and people respond to it. That's the only reason why I'm even on this sharing that I got out of prison. I mean, I was never going to tell anybody, but then I saw the response and I saw how it just helped me connect to people in communities. But if you don't do it, you're stuck in your shame and stuff. So I love that you have people come up and be heard, because we all need to hear it.
I want to say, you just said something that would have really torn me in half if you never would have said that you went to prison, because guess what? Stephanie and I would have never got to meet you. You know, like, we would have never had this conversation. You would have never got to speak into my life the other day. It was just, you know, like, I'm so glad you decided to voice truth and not hide it. It's just, it speaks volumes. And I really admire that, and I look up to that. Thank
you. You know, I think right now is a really good time for the coronavirus to do that. People are suffering, and you don't have to suffer alone. If you share what your fears are, you share that with people, you're going to connect to other people.
Yeah, man.
Seriously. And then we can, you know, do life like this. Because really, when I first thought about coming to Oregon, I was sad. I don't want to come to Oregon. I'm from California. I was crying in the airport. I thought, Medford, I gotta go to Medford.
Not Medford,
for my life. You know, I was literally super, because I felt like I was not being able to go back home still. And you know, if this has been my place. This is the place where I feel heard. This is the place where God's done so much work in me, connected with my family, connected with you guys that are like my people. I have so many amazing people in my life that I would have never met. And my friend Allison said today, she's like, you know, if I would have known, and she's not in recovery, but for different reasons, she said, if I would have known what I had to walk through to get to this amazing place, I still don't know if I would have done it. And I thought, ooh, I don't know. I would probably still, because it's painful, say no. I probably would still not choose to walk through that. But look at this gift. So I think that's one of the gifts of trusting and moving forward, thinking, I'm just going to trust, because sometimes it's painful. You know, I was walking around Medford in the rain, taking the bus, trying to find a job. That was after being a wardrobe stylist. I'm like, my life is over. This is horrible. And then school showed, you know, and I didn't know anybody, but then all paths were lit. Yeah, because I trusted and I told people I'm afraid, and they're like, well, let me help you. And I would have never told anybody I was afraid. Fear was not me and fear did not coexist ever. And now we do. And
I just
cool.
want to say right now, right here in front of everybody, that I don't care if they'd have put you in Istanbul. Girl, you were going to make it. Okay? Like, you were going to make it. Like, I don't believe that for 1 second, but I'm just so blessed. And I know that there's many of us out there that are super blessed that you did land here in this tiny little Podunk Valley that I love so much, by the way.
It's not tiny Podunk. It's just,
it
just was so different than, you know,
it's growing.
Different. It's such a, just the community. That's what I love about the Recovery Cafe.
Oh, we got a community. Yeah.
It's the community. If I didn't have the community, no matter what city I was in, I would not be successful. It's the community, period. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Stephanie,
He's calling me out, but
because I see you over there smiling ear to ear. I'm like, I know you got something.
Hey, everyone.
I love Stephanie.
I try to sideline. I just love Brandon's connection with people, but Kristy, you've been an amazing friend to me.
Aww.
Like, to see I do the same little ending where I cry.
That's where we make the big bucks. No, I love watching this.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't experience a lot of that deep love because I was running from pain, and you can't have deep love if you are not comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so, like, when I see anything you're doing, I'm like, I get so excited. I mean, I get so excited that I get to even be a part of it.
Oh.
It's true. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Strong women just light my soul on fire. And this gal, like Brandon said, like, it didn't matter where she went. You just know that she's going to be successful. And that's part of the privilege we have of seeing her whole, too. Like, I know she did the hard work when she was in prison and really thought about who she was and became that person. And, you know, for her to get back to our organization and be a part of our journey, it just is a really marvelous thing to be a part of.
So lucky.
So,
Well, we're lucky to have you.
Kristy will be a circle leader for us starting Mondays when we roll those out, when we get out of the COVID place that we're in.
Episode.
Yes, so she'll be leading probably a women's circle for us, and I'm just so excited for what she will bring to that. And we're still accepting new members and had an orientation this morning, so that was really fun. People just continue to come in the door one at a time at 6 feet distancing, and we continue to love them, and our team is just growing so strong, and I'm really proud to walk alongside you, Kristy. Thank you for everything you do in our community at Federal Reentry Court, which you introduced me to, and I'm such a fan of Judge Aiken and how she treats people like people and wants to see them succeed. Like, that is my heart always, and to raise up leaders. So thank you for what you do for us, and I just know you're going to be amazing.
And if you guys are new out there and you haven't been to Recovery Cafe, come. And if you're in recovery yourself, there's no reason not to be connected to other people doing big things. There's no reason at all, especially since so much distraction has been taken away. So why not venture out? I mean, we don't have time to live small. We have time. We need to live with all that we have, and then that's where all the joy is. Woohoo!
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, it's like, and I love what you just said there. It's like, personally, like, I don't want to plant my flag in one thing in recovery because I feel like that. And I'm not knocking anybody who does. I'm just saying, for me personally, Brandon's opinion is that, like, what if there's somebody in another fellowship that really needs to hear what I have to hear? Or what if there's somebody that has what I need to hear?
Yeah, totally.
And I would only be robbing myself of putting myself in one spot. We just want to walk alongside every pathway there is. That way we can all just make recovery the epidemic. It's just so important to make sure that we keep connection and don't lose sight of who's better than who or why's better than why, because nobody's better than anybody. We're literally all in the same boat, rowing the same ship on the same path to winning. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm winning.
Yeah.
I'm winning.
We are moving forward. Yeah. Excited to meet new people and see our people again. Miss you all, everyone out there. Thank you so much for being a part of what we've done and for staying with us through this whole crisis. It's been awesome.
And thank you, Steph, for being such an amazing person. Woo! Just opening the doors for people in recovery and loving them. Just loving. That's it. It's pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
I mean, it's difficult.
Sometimes not.
It's simple. It's not easy though. So
you know, right now you walk through these doors, you get loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of love here to go around. We want to meet you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Come and see us.
All right, you guys. We really appreciate you guys showing up today and taking the time. Kristy, taking your time today was just amazing. We thank you. Thank you, Stephanie, for sneaking this little side thing in the end. I love you ever so much. So it's just really important just to get your little I love yous in live. I just love it. You guys stay tuned. We got another guest with us tomorrow, Bo Jessica. He's amazing.
Founding board member of Reclaiming Lives and a very close friend of our family and someone who really, really knows what it means to love people. Excited for you to meet him.
He's my mentor. All right, you guys, we love you and stay good. If you need us, 541-890-0590. Have a good day. God bless.
Bye, everyone.